Master Sergeant King, why did you join the Army?
I joined the Army in 1995 because at the time um, I was a single child. My mom was a single parent, and I just felt like that maybe I wasn't smart enough to go to college, and I felt like if I wasn't smart enough to go to college, I didn't want her to spend money on a kid that wasn't focused nor smart enough to go to college and be successful. All the other kids were, going to college, and they were, A students and B students, and it just felt like I wasn't, I didn't measure up.
What was your rank and role in the Army?
I started off as a private, like bottom of the barrel, like basic entry private, and I worked my way up to master sergeant, which is what I am today. I started out as a basic, shooter, bullet shooter, and today I'm a master sergeant.
Can you share something very positive or memorable from your service?
Probably the most memorable thing is me graduating from the U.S. Army Ranger School. I never thought that I would ever be, good enough to graduate from there, and it took me a lot of different tries to graduate. I didn't even graduate on my first try, or nor my second try. Um, but somehow, by continuing to try, it taught me a lot about life and about adversity, and a lot about being okay with not winning the first time, but being so focused on the goal that nothing else matters. It taught me about adversity. It taught me about overcoming, and surprisingly enough, that's what I use today with the what I have happened to me now.
Can you share your story and describe what happened the day that changed your life?
The morning in question that you're talking about is one morning the commander comes and tells me that he needs us to do a reconnaissance and gather information so that we can have probable cause to to interrupt the Taliban weaponry in our particular area. So bad guys were doing bad things in our sector, and we needed to have probable cause to eliminate that building, to eliminate these people. And we uh, we woke up one morning and we went out to try and bring back the information. In about 5 minutes into our patrol on foot, we were we were engaged and fired upon. Um, about 10 minutes later, we're at the place. In spite of the attack, we're at the place that we have to do reconnaissance. We put a bomb on a particular part of the building, and we gained access to the building. And while we're in there, we're gathering the information that the commander needs. We're taking the pictures, and I step on a bomb. And in that moment, my life changed. My legs were instantly uh, torn apart, and the men on my patrol are the ones that at least they got me to the hospital. They put me on. They kept me encouraged, and I'm here to talk about it today.
Can you tell us about your road to recovery and share what keeps you motivated and why you never give up?
It's simply this: I got injured, and you never know how strong you are until strong is what you have to be. Um, I never thought in a million years that I wouldn't have legs. So for me, all of the things that I learned in the military, they were now having to be called upon to be actually used. So all that perseverance and all of that positivity, I had to now put it into practice, and it's pretty tough when you don't have legs. Uh, I knew that I wanted to get back and regain the life that I always had before, that I lived before, and it felt like that here is an opportunity to fight back so that life didn't have to have the last say so. Life didn't have to write the final chapter. this bomb, my legs getting blown off, they didn't have to write the last chapter of my life. I was able to write the last chapter. I get to say what is going to happen and what's not going to happen. And I sat and I prayed about it, and through faith, family, and focus, I'm able to say that, you know, I've done some things that have even surprised me.
Beautiful. How long did it take you to learn to walk and run again?
It took me to walk. It took me about 5 or 6 months, maybe. I got injured in July. I stood up for the first time in November of that year. So from July to November, I was in a wheelchair constantly, or in a bed constantly. And a lot of physical therapy, tons and tons and tons of physical therapy went into me trying to learn how to walk again. I took my first step in November of that year.
So,
And to learn to run again, it was maybe about another 6 to 7 more months.
so what made you decide to run your first marathon?
Well, running my marathon was something that I never thought I'd be able to do as an amputee. I wanted to set a goal that made me grow. I wanted to set a goal that was so big that if I ever even accomplished it, it would make me have a larger vision of who I was. I told you before that I never thought I was smart enough or good enough to go to college. And even when I went to Ranger School, I never thought that I was good enough to graduate from Ranger School. So those two experiences taught me that what I had to do was I had to set a goal for myself that was so much bigger than what I thought was attainable. When I actually accomplished that goal, it made me see myself in a different way. So I thought as far and as wide and as grand as I could think, and I was like, wow, let me try and run a marathon. And at first, it wasn't about trying to run a marathon. It was just about trying to learn how to run. And I tried, and in the beginning, I only could run 20 or 30 yards without being totally exhausted. And then 20 or 30 yards with continuous work and continuous just sweat, it turned into, 2 miles, 1 mile, 2 miles, 3 miles. And those 2 or 3 miles with hard work and sweat and continuous progress, it turned into me running marathons. I think sometimes we look at the end and we say, wow, that's a great story, but nobody understands how much time it takes to get there and how much hard work it takes to be able to run a marathon, particularly running a marathon on prosthetics with no legs. That's tough. That's tough. But now I see that by running a marathon, I can do anything. And it's not just me, it's anybody can, anything is possible. If I can run a marathon, anything is possible.
So what is your mission exactly now? What is your mission?
It's simply this. It's to show people that anything is possible. If I can do a marathon, if I can swim miles, if I can bike miles, if I can skydive, if I can go back to college and type with 7 fingers and get a degree with 7 fingers, if I could do these things just because I make a decision to do them and commit to doing them, then that means that anything is possible. Not just for me, but for us all. And that's what I want to prove. That's what I want to prove to people. It's not just me. It's not because my legs do something special that yours don't. But I want to prove to people that if you want to go back to college, you can go back to college. If you want to leave out of an abusive relationship, you can do that. If you want to overcome an illness, you can do that. Not because of anything, but if I can do it, then you can do it.